The story that no one's talking about is the massive natural gas pipeline that is nearly set to go online. Now, it starts in Nigeria and it flows up through Niger on its way into Europe. Chevron and the United States have already invested $13 billion into this. And after the Nord Stream pipeline destruction, Chevron stepped up production to get this pipeline up and running. And now the people of Niger are saying, wait a second, why are we going to allow a pipeline to flow right through our own country into Europe? You are doing nothing for us, and yet you continue to steal from us. So sorry, no more pipeline. This is why Europe is terrified this morning. And it was always going to be a very cold and dreary winter because of the natural gas destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline. This winter could be even worse now if this pipeline is not allowed to go into action in Africa. Niger is saying, sorry, you're not going to use our country to transport your natural gas into Europe. Get out of here. Europe is facing catastrophe.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing great today. Okay, so in view of the traumatic events rapidly unfolding in Niger Republic on the western side of Africa, I decided to see if I could do my little best to equip us a little bit with some knowledge and some understanding of what is really happening in that region, because I feel like it is time for those who know how to pray to begin to pray. But I also feel like you wouldn't be able to pray effectively if you don't have a sufficient amount of information on what is really happening, so that you don't pray amiss, like we say in Christianity. Okay, so ever since this whole thing began to happen, the coup happened in July. I think it was July the 26th. And a new military regime was born in Niger Republic. And the guy who was there, Mohamed Bazoum, was ousted and, kept in his home, house arrest. He's been in detention ever since. And since that time, there has been a whole lot of activities. Like ECOWAS had given ultimatum that expired last Sunday and said if you don't restore or cede power to this guy, there could be some type of military intervention, and that didn't happen. Eventually, the ultimatum expired, and rather than cave to ECOWAS's threats and the pressure from international community, the military junta in Niger was even more emboldened by the number of people that showed up at the stadium to give them some love and cheer them up and thanked them for delivering the nation from the stranglehold of colonial France. Can you imagine that? So the people are extremely happy with these guys who took over power from Bazoum. Now, if you follow me on Twitter and you have followed some of my posts, you would have noticed that every time we make posts about what really is the bone of contention, we keep talking about uranium because, of course, Niger Republic is one of the biggest suppliers of uranium in the world. Like, people are even saying that up to 35 to 40% of the uranium supplies that go to Europe come from Niger Republic. They also get uranium from Kazakhstan. It used to be also Russia. They get from Russia as well. In fact, I read a report recently that despite all the sanctions they slammed on Russia, that they did not slam Russia with any sanction on uranium export, because sanctioning Russia on export of uranium means that the whole of the European Union's energy need is going to be scrapped. They are going to be thrown into darkness big time. Yeah? So, but even though they did not sanction Russia with respect to uranium export or shipment to Europe, they are making alternative plans to make sure that in the nearest future, they wouldn't have to depend on Russia to get the uranium. And so where are all the other alternatives and plan Bs they have? Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan gives them uranium. About 26% of the uranium supply to Europe is from Kazakhstan. But then the problem is that everything that has to do with the shipment of their uranium from Kazakhstan to Western Europe, it goes through Russia. So Russia is responsible. So without Russia, even though Kazakhstan has uranium for them, Without Russia, they cannot receive the uranium. And now the next plan B they have is Niger Republic. Because this uranium is very powerful. It is using nuclear reactors. That is how they are able to keep their energy alive in Europe. Now, Niger Republic is the next one. And can you imagine that a coup has taken place and the coup plotters are loyal to Russia, the same Russia that Europe is trying to run away from. And now they have now cut all supplies of uranium to France and America. Think about that. So we've been emphasizing on this, that this is the major bone of contention, but I want to bring you up to speed on something that I haven't really talked about. And that thing will shock you, because if you ask me what is the real bone of contention, it is the one that I'm about to talk about right now. Many of you heard about the Nord Stream pipeline underwater explosion. Nord Stream is the major pipeline that moves gas from Russia to Western Europe. Right? And you heard there was a time that it was blown up. That is something that I would say is a major, massive dent on Russia's economy. It doesn't mean it crippled Russia, but it was a hit that Russia really felt. And guess what? Every single person, including Russians and many high-profile American politicians, pointed accusing finger at who? At the United States of America, and said it was America that blew it up. The United States of America has not officially taken responsibility for that, but everybody says it's America. Russia is